difficult. And that kind of really made me think about what I was doing with my time, because in university I was there for 4 years and studying IT, and I just didn't enjoy it. So when I graduated, it was more of a relief, because I just about graduated. I got a 2.2 and I scraped it. But I got a degree, so I guess that's what university is about. But as soon as I graduated, I decided that I needed to get out of London and out of the UK. So I became a TEFL teacher. I'm sure people have heard of it, but TEFL stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. So, with this course, you can then basically travel the world and teach English. So I ended up in Asia, and I lived in Taiwan for a year. I then went to Thailand for a bit. I went to the Philippines for a bit. So I was out in Asia teaching English for a couple of years. And then when I came back to London, I decided I wanted to be a photographer. So, completely different route again. Photography was always my passion. This is the thing, when I think back about it, when I was a kid, photography was always my passion. My dad was into photography, darkroom photography. He was always taking pictures of us, and my passion sort of developed from there. But then when I think about it, why didn't I pursue a career in photography? But that's what kind of happens. Your passions tend to get put aside, and you kind of do what you think is the right thing to do. Which for sort of my cultural background, it's usually academia, medicine or IT or something along those lines. But I became a photographer, and during my journey as a photographer, I realized that I love what I was doing, but I was putting a lot of time into it. A lot of time, so photography is not all excitement. A lot of people see the end pictures and they think, wow, these guys must have a really good time putting these photographs together. But it's a lot of hard work, because you've got the post-production, you've got the pre-production, you've got the post-production, you've got the actual photo shoots, which can last 14 hours, 15 hours a day. And I just basically, I wanted to start freeing up some time. So that's when I started looking into foreign exchange trading. Basically, I had quite a lot of money saved up over my time during teaching and photography. I just wanted to put it to better use, rather than just kind of buy a house, which I think most people generally end up doing when they have a certain pot of money. The first thing they really think about is getting a house, putting a deposit. And I just didn't want that kind of commitment. I wanted more growth from all the hard work that I put into it. So that's basically how I ended up looking into trading.
Okay. So what kind of year are we talking about? When was that?
2007.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, actually my cousin who started looking into trading. So he actually took me along to a few seminars. So, I'd heard a few things on the radio, and I'd read a few books about it, but I always felt that photography was the way that I was going to, make a lot of money and be quite successful. And so I was really focused on my photography career. And it was my cousin who actually started dragging me along to, these kind of free seminars you have in central London. You have a lot of them in the evenings. And so it was actually my cousin who really sort of started getting me interested in it. And I ended up paying for a course, quite a lot of money. Both my cousin and we ended up paying quite a lot of money for this course. It was a weekend course. And we didn't really learn a lot. At the end of the course, they tried to really upsell us onto another far more expensive course. And, after that whole sort of upselling, we didn't really pursue it until we met Javid.
Okay. So let me stop you there, because that I think is really where things changed dramatically.
Yeah.
But I'm just keen, to really sort of just look at this area here where it was a real transition period, and you knew that photography was your passion, but you really didn't want to spend the rest of your life doing crazy 14-hour days. And, the traveling sounds good. I know, because from my past career in the music industry, you travel to exotic places, and on the outside it looks like a really cool thing, but traveling's pretty tiring, isn't it, when you're working as well at the same time?
Yeah. It's true. I mean, even in photography, we did a lot of traveling. The group that we worked with, there was a collective. There were 3 of us, and we had some amazing jobs. Like Barcelona Football Club, for example, they were our clients. So we'd fly out to Barcelona, every 2-3 months, and we'd photograph the players. And, me being quite passionate about football, photographing Messi and Puyol and Xavi, Iniesta, getting a chance to photograph all of these guys, up front was probably the highlight of my career in photography.
Yeah.
But it still just ends up being a job.
Yeah.
You work, you've got hours. You don't really get to enjoy the places that you're going to. It's more of you're on a plane, you get there, you do the work, you may have a meal in the evening. The next day you're on a plane and you're back home.
Yeah.
So it's still hours, and you don't really get to appreciate the places that you fly out to. Teaching was a little bit different. I was living out there, so I got to immerse myself in the culture, and I really enjoyed that. But there's no money in teaching. So even though I'm traveling and I'm enjoying all of these places, there's no money in it. And when you're 21, 22, maybe money's not a priority. It's more about being out there and traveling and seeing the world and, enjoying life. But as you start getting older, your priorities change. It's not so much just about traveling. You want money. You want to be able to, look after your parents and buy the nicer things in life, have the nicer cars and, go out to the nicer restaurants, have the nicer clothes. And so traveling doesn't always become such, and it's not always such a priority when you get older. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you. You've experienced it in the music industry. It just becomes part of the job, and it takes the enjoyment out of it.
So at that point, when you kind of, it was your cousin, am I correct?
Yeah.
Cousin. So your cousin mentions trading.
Yeah.
What were your beliefs about trading, and what did you understand by the term trading at that time?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm actually quite, I don't know what the word to use is, but I don't really get dissuade very easily. That's the word I'm looking for. I know there's a lot of negativity around trading, and even back then I understood that as well. But I don't let that sort of form my opinion. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of what the pitfalls are. But at the same time, I'm a really big believer in finding people that have made a success of it and talking to them and finding out why is it that they're successful and other people are not. It's the same thing in photography. Like, to go from teaching into photography, it's not just okay, I'm going to wake up and be a photographer one day. That wasn't how I got into photography. I got into photography by finding a mentor as an assistant. I worked as a second assistant. Now, I don't know if there's anyone logged in today who works in photography or knows about the photography world, but a lot of people start off as assistants. And what that means is that you're literally the dog's body of the studio. You're cleaning floors, you're running around for the models, you're going out getting the props, you're doing all the things that no one wants to do. But at the same time, you're next to the photographer. You are seeing how they're setting up the lighting. You're seeing all the post-production work in Photoshop. So you're constantly learning on the job. So, you've got to make certain sacrifices. Okay, I'm not getting paid anything, and I'm a bit of the dog's body, but at the same time, I'm learning from a professional. I'm learning from someone who's doing advertising work, who's doing work for Harper's Bazaar, Vogue, Tatler, all the top magazines. So I'm willing to sacrifice that to be around someone who knows what they're doing. And it's the same thing really in trading. Like, you can be around people who, which at the time was very easy, to be around people who kind of knew what they were talking about, but weren't really making any money. Or I could find a mentor who had actually succeeded in making a lifestyle from trading and learning from him. And that's the kind of route that I was looking for. I'd already done that in photography, and I wanted to actually just transfer that same approach into trading.
Yeah, it's a critical point that you make there. And even at our last meetup, we had the 1 year anniversary meetup, and I've got 5 mentors in total, and you being one of them, Zaheer, and just stress the importance of this to people. You relayed your story there about the photography industry. It's same again for myself, and this, people say, how do you get into these industries? They're so cool. But, well, you have to get a foot in the door, and you have to be prepared to do the hard work and not necessarily get paid. And that's the same that I'm now finding when you're searching for, business opportunities and businesses that can create great wealth. It doesn't happen immediately, and you have to be prepared to maybe put, a couple of years, if not more, of hard work without necessarily seeing the returns straight away. Yeah. And that's what most people find so difficult, because they're putting in the hard work, they're not seeing the returns, and they just think, well, I'm just giving up, this is a waste of time. And the lesson is to be learned by never giving up, and there's a great phrase that, winners never fail and failures never win. Quitters never fail and so I'm getting this muddled up. Quitters never win and winners never quit. There we go. Third time lucky. Yeah. And I love that, because, it's the ones that quit, then failure is guaranteed. And sometimes, you have to be prepared to do that. And trading's no different, really. There's, as you said, some of the negativity out there. It comes from either misunderstanding or people who just think that they're going to get rich overnight. And yeah. I'm not saying that can't happen, but in my experience and yours, I think that's not the right approach to have, is it?
No, not at all. There's a lot of parallels between my approach to photography and my approach to trading. I'll give a very good example. In today's day and age, everyone thinks they're a photographer. Everyone thinks they're a photographer. Because, look at the camera on the iPhone or on our smartphones. They're amazing. They're amazing cameras. In fact, the quality of the camera on an iPhone today is better than the first digital camera that I bought, which cost me £2,000. Yeah. The first digital SLR. But that doesn't, just because the camera is good, just because the quality of the camera is good, doesn't mean that everyone has the ability to become a photographer. It requires a skill. Lighting is a skill. Composition is a skill. Camera angles are a skill. It is a skill. It's something that takes time to nurture and to practice and to build a theme, if you like, or a look to your artwork. It's a journey, and it's the same thing with trading. Unfortunately, there's a lot of information on the internet. Internet is a wonderful tool. It's opened up the whole marketplace. It's a wonderful tool, but at the same time, there are a lot of pitfalls that come along with the internet. And trading is one of those worlds where you put in FX trading, and whack, you're hit with all of this information, and you suddenly click on one link, then another link, and then you're suddenly lost in this this wealth of information. But a lot of it is not always correct. There's a lot of misleading information out there. So, I agree. It requires a particular approach.
Yeah. So let's try and demystify a little bit of this, because I know everyone who's on the call, and welcome to Lucas. Lucas, just seen you joining. And guys, please drop in any questions that you have, because what I'm really keen to do here is we're not just going to go straight in and say, okay, well, how do you trade and how much money can I make? Because I think you really got to understand that, there's a mindset that goes into this, and you have to decide, okay, is trading going to fit my lifestyle? Is it right? Am I going to be just suited to this? Is it something that if I start trading, am I going to be committed to continue? Because we're saying it's not something that's going to happen overnight. So hopefully throughout this conversation, we can demystify how you got started, how long it took before you started to see results. So let's take it back to you'd been on that weekend course. It hadn't really worked out. And then you mentioned you met someone called Javid, who I know very well, very fond of. David's on the call. So tell us a bit more about it. Tell us a bit more about this.
Okay. And again, I've got to, I've got to thank my cousin, really, because it was my cousin who first met Javid. And my cousin was quite instrumental, obviously, in the early parts of me getting into trading. And we'd done this course, this weekend course. We paid a lot of money for this weekend course, and we hadn't learned anything. And they tried to upsell us onto the next course. And the next course, believe it or not, was a substantial amount of money. We could afford it, but it was a huge amount of money. And we just thought that, we got to think about this before we sort of commit to that. We wanted to think about it. And my cousin was a personal trainer, and he was working out in the gym, and he met Javid. They started talking, and Javid and Imran had a pretty in-depth conversation, and I remember my cousin coming home, and he was actually like really excited. He was like, "You can't believe! I think we found what we're looking for," and we arranged to go and meet Javid in an office not too far from Surrey, actually, and it just made sense. How you've just sort of talked about when you met me and the things that I was saying made sense. It was the same thing about when I met Javid. He didn't promise me anything. He didn't talk about how much money he's made or any of those things. He just basically told me the facts that, this is what you need. This is how I made it. And all I really wanted to know, and this is one of the only questions I really asked Javid was, look, I just want to know how to get to where you are by avoiding the mistakes that you've made. I think that is crucial to a mentor. A mentor is someone that has gone through the process, has made all the mistakes, and then when I come on board, I don't have to make the same mistakes as Javid. Of course, I might make some of the mistakes like while I'm actually pulling the trades, and a few sort of there will be mistakes along the way. But the really expensive mistakes, the courses, the software, all of that kind of information, I didn't want to go through the research of finding that. I just wanted a mentor who could tell me, right, this is the software that we need. These are the strategies that work. This is how much you need to get started. And, you need a plan. A plan being a 5-year plan, not a 5-week plan or a 5-month plan like a lot of people here on the internet. It was, Javid was talking in terms of years. And that was resonating with me.
Yeah.
The first 6 months to a year was all about learning. Right. That's what I wanted to know. Like, how much is it going to take me to actually understand the intricacies of trading? How to break down a chart, how to manage my risk. Those are the kind of things that I wanted to know. And those are the kind of things actually that I didn't want to make mistakes on. Because there's a lot of people out there who try and do this journey on their own, and it ends up being a far more expensive journey than finding a mentor that's actually done it. And of course, like paying them for their time, because time is valuable. But what are you getting in return? I got a whole lifestyle out of it. I had absolutely no problem paying people. I had absolutely no problem sacrificing my time to sit next to a photographer so that I could learn. So I had absolutely no time sacrificing some of the money that I'd saved up to be able to sit next to Javid one-to-one and get really immersed into this industry. And that's what I wanted. So that's how I came across Javid. I came across Javid through my cousin, and the first course that we did with Javid it wasn't a weekend. It was a course that was broken down strategically into chapters. What are candlesticks? What are chart patterns? What are moving averages? What are Fibonacci's? What is a strategy? What are multiple time frames? Not just, oh, guys, look, here's an entry point. Here's an exit point. This is where you're going to make money. Do this 50 times a day, and that's how you're going to make money. That's not what I wanted. And that's what you would always hear on these sort of free courses that you see around the city. And it's exactly what I didn't want. And I have to say that I actually got very, 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 very lucky, because whereas most people struggle to find a single mentor, as you know, Chris, we're blessed to have 2 mentors.
Yeah.
Okay. Because not only do we have Javid, we've got Anne. Okay. And there's different markets out there. There's a foreign exchange market. There's the stock market. There's a commodities market. These are different markets. You can't just focus on a single market. There's a lot of people out there who are fixated with the foreign exchange market. And not only are they fixated with the foreign exchange market, they'll be fixated with a single currency, euro dollar, Aussie dollar, maybe gold. They're fixated with a single instrument that will make up their whole portfolio. That's not how you approach trading.
Yeah.
As a trader, you want to trade wherever the money is. And money moves from market to market. Foreign exchange is not always going to be liquid. Look at foreign exchange this year. It's been very, very quiet. So, backtracking, not only did, I meet Javid, I managed to get a second mentor out of it, Anne Chapman. I know there's a lot of people on here who've read Anne Chapman's PDF, which is really sort of giving people a really clear vision of what trading's all about. Really cutting through all the clutter on the internet and really breaking down technical analysis in a very clear way. And I know that from a lot of the feedback that I'm getting, that it's really starting to resonate with people. So as you know, we have got Jabit, who taught us all in foreign exchange, and of course, the wonderful Anne Chapman, who taught me everything that I know about stock trading.
Absolutely.
Two mentors out of it. I was very lucky.
I can see Anne is giving you lots of props as we speak. So welcome, Anne. Thank you for joining us. And
Anne promised me that she's going to take me to a nice restaurant at the end of the interview. So
oh, really?
I'm propping Anne as much as I can.
Fantastic. So here, I know a few people would have heard you mention there about a resource that Anne has provided, a guide to trading. Maybe is that available for people anywhere? Or?
Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. The best way to get access to the PDF is, it's called the Almost Complete Guide to Trading. The Almost Complete Guide to Trading. So what people need to understand is that we're really trying to bring a business ethos to trading. Okay, so we don't want people to think that this PDF is everything that you need. It's an insight into what it takes to become a really successful and consistent trader. Okay, so it's the Almost Complete Guide to Trading. If you go to our website, which is the dynamictrader.com, is there a way of putting that in the chat box? Or
yeah, I'll pop that in. It's okay. Dynamic. There's no D, is there?
No, the dynamictrader.com.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and if people register for the weekly newsletter, so if they look to the right of the website, and I think some people need to scroll down a little bit depending on the size of their monitor, but if you move to the right hand side of the website and just look a little bit further down under the videos, there'll be a little field there where you can put in your email and you can register for our weekly newsletter.
Okay.
Excuse me. And as soon as you register, you'll have the PDF sent out to you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, and as I say, everyone, I encourage you to pop in any questions you have. I see that you popped one in there, Ian Mendez, and just want to acknowledge that. You say that I've looked at currency trading. I'm not thick, but it looked a bit hard to grasp. Is this similar? So that's a really good question. Thank you. And before we kind of take it back on the next stage of the journey, Zaheer, let's just recap, if you don't mind. When we talk about trading, people who haven't traded might have all sorts of different visions in their head. They may think of going to like a trading pit where there's loads of people running around and things flashing around, whereas other people think that you're stuck behind a screen and you're watching things go up and down and up and down, kind of getting in. And it just explain what we talk about when we trade. What does our day look like?
Yeah, okay. Really good question. I mean, you go on the internet and the internet is awash with day trading information. So everyone sort of, when people first come to or first start looking into trading, they'll start doing some research and they quickly get led down the route of day trading. Day trading is basically where you are, as the name suggests, you're trading during the day. So you're sat in front of your computer, pretty much like a job, maybe depending on what session you like to trade. But, most day traders are probably trading the UK session. So, it's kind of like an 8 to 5 lifestyle, if you like, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, depending on the hours. And it's not the best approach. And actually, to be fair, it's very, very unnecessary. Most people, when they first come to trading, have a job. So they're already working a 9 to 5. I was working as a photographer and an English teacher and a tutor. So I was actually working 3 jobs during a week, not consistently, but during different days I was working as a photographer. Weekend I was working as an English tutor. Sometimes I was working in an English college teaching foreigners that were in London to teach English. So I was always working. Some weeks I was working 7 days a week. So I needed a style of trading that could be adapted around what I was doing. The last thing I wanted was another 9 to 5. I didn't want to be having to look at another monitor while I'm already looking at monitors, retouching pictures. So I didn't want to have a laptop set up next to my Photoshop. I just needed a style of trading that was highly profitable, of course, that's the bottom line. I wanted more money. But at the same time, I wanted a style of trading that could be adapted around my lifestyle. And that was the other thing that really made sense when I met Javed, because it was the first time that I'd actually heard of trend trading. A lot of the academies that I'd gone and checked out, they were all going down the route of day trading. And that was one thing that really didn't resonate with me, because it looked like a lot of time in front of the computer. And I was already spending a lot of time in front of the computer retouching. So this is where trend trading comes in. Now, trend trading is where we look at the bigger picture. As the name suggests, we're looking for trends. And if people understand trends, the best way to define a trend is by looking at fashion. Fashion trends generally last 3 months because it's a seasonal thing. Fashions change as seasons change. So with trend trading, we kind of look at it at the same approach in the sense that we're looking at holding positions for weeks to months. Whereas most day traders probably hold positions for minutes to hours, maybe a few days. As trend traders, we're looking to hold positions for weeks to months. So what this means is that I don't need to be spending a lot of time in front of the computer. Generally, I spend depending on how busy the markets are, anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes a day actually trading. This, of course, involves preparation. The preparation starts at the weekend. So I spend maybe half an hour to an hour on Sunday preparing for the week ahead. And it's because of that hour that I spend preparing at the weekend that Monday to Friday then ends up being, very minimal time in front of the computer. And as you know, Chris, this is basically what we teach people to do in our community from the very beginning. A lot of people in the community they're all working. There's very few people in the community who are not working. They're all working. They all have jobs. They're all business people. They're all business minded. They just want to have a lot more from the hard work and the money that they've saved up, rather than it just sat in a bank. They want more from it. So, that's the power of trend trading. It allows trading to be adapted around any lifestyle, whether you're a single mother, because we have single mothers in the community. We have personal trainers in the community. We have lawyers. We have footballers. We have people in the oil industry, we have accountants, we have people from a whole different array of backgrounds, and trend trading is being adapted around whatever lifestyle people have. Yeah. So that's the power of it. It's far more powerful. And believe it or not, the profits are larger and far more consistent than what day trading will ever give you. See, the thing about day trading is that you can make money. Sure, there are day traders out there who make money, but what are they doing for that profit? A, they're sacrificing time for that profit. Mm-hmm. And B, for every bit of profit that you make, there are always losses that will eat into that profit. So for all the profit that you make, some of it will always get taken from those losses. And so you don't really end up making the kind of profit that you want for the time that you're putting in. That all gets taken away. Of course, there are losses in as trend traders, but our losses are always minimal. They're always capped. But because we allow our opening positions to grow over weeks to months, the losses become, insignificant.
Yeah.
So trend trading has many, many benefits to it. Larger profits, more consistent profits. It's adaptable around any lifestyle, and so that's what really resonated with me.
Yeah. People use a term called swing trading. Is trend trading similar?
It's similar, but it isn't. I mean, swings, you're looking for, of course, moves in the opposite direction to the market, and you can hold positions for a long period of time. But the advantage that trend trading has is that we use compounding. We hold positions for a lot longer, and we use compounding. So trend trading is not exactly. I know sometimes people get confused with swing trading and trend trading, but trend trading it's a different approach.
Sure. And it was when I first met you, and we had just a brief conversation, but it was just the honesty and down to earth conversation that we had, and that was really the first time that I really understood about trend trading. And when you told me how many pips you'd taken out of the market on one trade, it blew me away. I just didn't know that kind of thing was possible. I do now because I've managed to replicate nearly, not quite as well as that trade. But the key point you made there as well is that everyone within the dynamic trader community, there's a real system, and you need to approach it like a business. I always say to people who ask me about trading, and how much time it takes, I say that I treat it like a business. So if I had an office with some staff, I would at least need to kind of call in once a day and check that everything was okay. I don't necessarily need to be in the office all day, but I need to check in, make sure things are okay, and deal with anything that's important. And that's kind of the same with trading, isn't it? You do your preparation at the weekend, and then each day you just need to look at your charts, just make sure, is there anything you need to do? Are there any opportunities where you need to open or close a trade? And that's pretty much it. If you manage it and you have a system, which we're obviously taught and we all follow pretty much a similar trading plan, it's very simple. It doesn't need to be complicated, and it certainly doesn't need to take up lots of time, does it?
No. If we sort of backtrack, I think what we should really do is break down the realistic goals that people should start off with, that will then eventually get them to what is the ultimate goal for most people who come into trading, which is to become a full-time trader. So everything that you've said is totally correct. First and foremost, people need to approach trading as a business. If you approach trading as a business, you'll then understand that it needs investing. There's no business out there that doesn't need investing. All businesses need investing. So what does that mean? That means that the first year will always be the most expensive year, because you'll have startup costs. So with trading, what are your startup costs? Well, there's the training, there's software, there's market data, and then of course there's money in an account.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have your startup costs. Now, as all businesses, if you look at a business beyond the first year, which is the most expensive year, every year after that, you'll have overheads which need to be met. So with trading, the overheads will be your software and your market data. Of course, there'll be some broker charges as well that are involved, but broker charges don't actually need to be that expensive. There are ways of reducing the costs that we pay for brokers. But the two main charges are software and market data. Okay. Now, what does that mean? What that means then is that depending on how much money you start off with in your trading account, your first year, you may not actually cover your startup costs. You may not, say for example, you put £10,000 into starting up your trading business. Your first year, you may not cover that £10,000. Your first year is not about covering your startup costs. Your first year is all about getting it correct. Just understanding how the markets work and getting it correct. So that should be the first goal. The first goal should be investing into it as a business. Your second goal should then be getting it correct, understanding how the markets work, and getting the knowledge, getting that foundation. Your third goal should then be to be able to trade the first round of trends that you experience, because when a market is in trend, a market can trend for months at a time. If we take a look at the euro dollar, for example, right? The euro dollar, as we know, it started trending in September and it ended, it went into consolidation in May. So that means we held positions for 8-9 months effectively. So your next goal should then be, right, I've got this knowledge. Here are the trends that are appearing. I need to make sure that I get those first round of trends correct. Now, as you know, a lot of people in our community, people like Lucas, Miguel, Sebastian, Irina, these lovely people, they've come into our community and they've put all of that knowledge into practice, and these trends have appeared and they've all got it correct.
Yeah.
Very, very, very correct. They've all achieved substantial growth on their trading accounts. Now, what is the next goal? The next goal should then be to grow an account. Once you've understood how to trade trends, and then how to stand aside because there's no trends, and then how to trade again because the trends are in progress, you then need to start thinking, right, I want to be able to build this account. So this is where your 3, 4, 5 year plan comes in, because your next goal should then be, right, how long is it going to take me to become a full-time trader, for example? That may not be everyone's goal. I know there's people in our community, Sanjay, for example, Sanjay Lachani, who people have, people on social media will have followed. He does blogs for the dynamic trader. He has a very successful interior designing business, and he deals with very, very large contracts. His goal is not necessarily to be a full-time trader. His goal is to simply leverage the profits that he's making through his business to a whole new level. So not everyone that comes into trading wants to be a full-time trader. They simply want to achieve growth, more growth than a house would give them, more growth than what the bank would give them. So, but people who do want to become full-time traders, which was my goal, I wanted to give up photography. I wanted to give up teaching. My goal was to become a full-time trader. What people need to understand is that doesn't necessarily mean that you become a multi-millionaire. To become a full-time trader means that you want to be generating enough money that can sustain growth on your account, but at the same time, you're able to take out £2,000, £3,000 a month, whatever it is that sustains a lifestyle without affecting the growth of your account. For me, that took me 4 years.
Okay.
We have people in the community who, of course, they're doing it in a quicker amount of time. But why are they doing it in a quicker amount of time? Because software is better. We have community support. When I started in 2007, we didn't have a forum, if you like, so I would try and communicate with Javid, and, of course, he'd always reply to me, but, it may have taken him a day to get back to me on my email. Whereas now, if we put a question in the community, we've got people like Lucas who are replying within instants, so what took me 4 years is really, that whole journey is really speeding up because of the support that our current members are getting. So what I'm trying to get at here is that people need to be realistic with their goals. It's a journey. And it's not a journey that's going to take you 20, 30, 40 years. It's a journey that will take you, 2-3 years realistically to achieve your targets. And, 2-3 years, guys, really. I mean, people spend 50, 60 years in an industry before they retire. Trading doesn't cut out the hard work. Trading doesn't cut out the grind. Trading doesn't cut out the 9 to 5. You need the money. You need money to get started in trading. But what trading does is it brings forward the retirement period. So whereas most people retire at like 60, 65, 70 years old, in trading, if you get it correct, you can walk away from your 9 to 5 within 3, 4, 5 years. And so that is the power of trading. People need to be realistic with that. But at the same time, these goals are very, very, very attainable.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant, and I think hopefully we answered, or Zaheer answered your question there, Roy Chillin, and Roy asked how long did it take before you started seeing significant profits. You mentioned about 4 years there. The market is obviously going to dictate this as well, isn't it? Because one key thing here, many people say, well, how much can I make per month from trading? Trend trading is a longer term approach, as hopefully you're starting to understand. And Zaheer has just said there's some trends that go on for nearly 12 months, and we may be trading those opportunities for that whole time period. So it's hard to say set a monthly target. It's more realistic to say annually. And what would be, many people say, well, how much can I make? It's a difficult question, but how would you go some way to answering that, Zaheer?
Okay, let me, there's quite a few sort of questions in this one single question, which I think can be answered. Okay, the first question is, how long did it take you before you started seeing significant profits? I've never had a bad year in the sense that I've never blown a trading account, okay? First and foremost, blowing a trading account is a very, very unnecessary part of trading. As traders, we really need to focus on protecting the money that we have. This is one thing that Javid and Anne instilled in me very, very, very early on, which is, look, you've worked really hard for this money. Don't blow it away in just madness on, trading on without any risk management or anything like that. Really focus on protecting this money because profit will take care of itself. Okay, so that's the first thing that people really need to understand. Now, a profitable year, you can be profitable from the very first year. Many of our members this year, they've been with us for, just over a year now. Their first year with us has been profitable. What does profitable mean? Well, that's, of course, that's different for how people have adapted to trading. Not everyone, of course, has been hugely, hugely successful because people learn in different ways. we're humans. It's very difficult to just switch off your emotions and just trade in a very robotic, idealistic way. People learn at different stages. So that's the first thing. You can be profitable from the very beginning if you approach it the correct way. Blowing an account is very, very unnecessary. Focus on protecting your money. And then going back to what you were saying about a monthly return, this is where people go very, very wrong. And this is why people turn to day trading. What people want to do is effectively they want to quit their jobs. So what they do is they think, right, I'm earning £2,000, £3,000 a month. I'm going to sit in front of my computer and I'm going to try and replicate that by day trading. And so what people do is then they have like a monthly target that they want to achieve. And that's not how money is made in trading.
Yeah.
In trading, money is made in periods. What we call trends.
Yeah.
So you can make substantial growth in 5, 6, 7 months on your trading account because the trends are in play. But then for the next 3, 4 months, the market may go quiet. That means as traders, we focus on protecting our capital. So in that period where the markets have gone quiet and they're in a period of consolidation, we're not pulling any trades. That means we're not making any money. So in trading, money is made very, very differently. People shouldn't set a monthly target. What people should really rely on is understanding how the markets move and then letting the markets dictate how much profit you leave with. However, this is the crucial thing. If you only focus on one market, like the foreign exchange market, then you will be trading in a period at times where there's no liquidity. So what tends to happen is that people may trade when the trends are in play, but then they continue trading when the market's going to consolidation. So if you're just focusing on one market, you'll be trading at a time when there's no liquidity. So you may make money when there is liquidity, but then suddenly when the liquidity dries up and you continue trading when there's no liquidity, you start eating into your profit. If you look at other markets, so for example, if you've got foreign exchange as a part of your portfolio, and then you have the US stock market, you have the UK stock market, you may have commodities. Say for example, we're trading the foreign exchange market, when that market goes quiet, generally what happens is that another market starts going into trend. So if the foreign exchange market goes quiet, we move to the US stock market because the US stock market is showing trends. Then the US stock market may go quiet and foreign exchange may start moving again. So by having your eye on different markets, you're then able to move from market to market and extract profits consistently through the different markets.
Yeah. And again, this comes to the importance of having a good support network and mentors around you, because you're not second guessing on your own. You have, confirmation of a group who are all following a similar approach. And I can see the benefit. I mean, undoubtedly, having that support network has absolutely transformed, trading for me. And it's just so hugely valuable to learn from others. And, once you all end up taking the same trades because you all understand the basic theory of how to read a chart, and the simple charts are often the best. We see people who have got so many things going on, and we're taught from the beginning to understand how to read price, and price dictates pretty much everything to us. So yeah, that's so important.
It's a combination of two things, actually. One thing that we shouldn't fail to mention is the importance of really, really good software. Of course, we need mentoring and we need understanding, but we also need the right equipment. As you know, as dynamic traders, we're blessed in the sense that we have highly, highly effective proprietary tools that really give us an edge over, free-source software that's easily downloadable on the internet. And again, that's where people go a little bit wrong, because software is so readily available, they assume that is enough to actually start trading. I don't know any industry that thrives on free equipment. I'll give a perfect example. When we were in photography, we were doing photographs we were doing advertising. A lot of the money that we made in photography was through advertising. That is where a lot of money is for photographers, because you get usage rights, and there's a whole lot of benefits that go with being an advertising photographer. Some of the pictures that we were taking used to go on the side of buses and used to go on billboards. So you can imagine the quality of the camera that we used. I mean, if you use a standard camera, you're going to get pixelization. The camera that we used was a Hasselblad. Now, I don't know if people are familiar with Hasselblad. I know people are familiar with Nikons and Canons, but Hasselblad, just to give you the heritage of Hasselblad, Hasselblad cameras were the first cameras to go to the moon. So you can imagine the level of technology and engineering that goes into them. German, of course. The camera that we used was a £60,000 camera.
Wow.
Okay, most amateur photographers spend £2,000, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000, and they take good pictures if you want it in a magazine or something. But if you want them on the side of buses, they won't do the job. So for us to get those campaigns, we needed the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with trading. If you want profit, first of all, of course, you need good training, you need good understanding. But it's because of the software that we use. eSignal is our charting package. Metastock for scanning, of course, and does a great job for us in the community by scanning the US stock market for us with Metastock. Yeah. But these are professional software, and if people want to create a successful business, they need to invest into good software.
Sure.
So it's a combination of the training, the support network, the forum, the people that we have in the community, alongside the software that we use that allows us to not only adapt it around our lifestyles, but to also make sure that we're taking advantage of all the best opportunities.
Sure. And thankfully, we're not talking about £60,000 trading software, are we? It's much more affordable, but it is the best that's there.
Well, I mean, let's put it into context. eSignal, market data. A lot of the guys that come into our community, people come in with different budgets. You've got people with six-figure budgets that are ready to start trading, but then you've got people who come into trading with £10,000, £15,000. So we need to be able to cater for people at different stages and with different budgets. eSignal starts at $599 a year. I mean, that's not expensive. $599 a year, and the way it will change your trading, it's unbelievable. So, people really do need to look away from free software and start looking at the other options that are available to them.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's about £45 a month, isn't it? So, and that's for, as you say, eSignal, which is, very high quality trading software there. So yeah, okay. You mentioned there a little bit about the amounts of money. What's people who really only maybe have got a couple of thousand and they want to get into trading. What's your advice for those guys?
Well, if you've only got £2,000, then I would say save a little bit more. First of all, £2,000 is enough to start off with in a trading account. Of course, I mean, that's what I would recommend someone to start off with a trading account. But I wouldn't recommend someone to put £2,000 into a trading account without software, without training. So if you aren't in the right position to fund this correctly, then what I would say is, that should be your first goal. Don't be in a rush to start opening up trading accounts, because the likelihood is that, you have a very good chance of there is a very good chance that you will lose that money. In which case that £2,000 is gone. And you've not only, you've got to start all over again in terms of saving. So I would say, first of all, if you've only got £2,000 to save until you're in a position to invest properly. If you are in a position to invest properly, £2,000 is a good starting point. In your first year, realistically, I would say to target 25 to 30% as an attainable target. If we put that into perspective, if you look at what a bank gives you, what a high interest account gives you, what maybe if you leave your money to a hedge fund, what they give you, 25 to 30% in your first year is a realistic target.
Yeah,
I know there's percentages out there that are a lady, I spoke to a lady in America actually last week, very nice lady. She's interested in joining the community, and she showed me a website, and they're testimonials of people making 1,000% in 3 months. Now, I'm not saying that that's not possible. 1,000% in 3 months is okay. It is possible, but then what people need to question is what are the risks that they've taken to make such large returns?
Yeah. What happens in the following 3 months?
Exactly. With that kind of approach, easy come, easy go. So people need to be a little bit realistic about what are the percentage returns that can be made. 20 to 30% in your first year is a good target.
Yeah, I think that's good to give. Yeah. Question. I am Mendez. Thanks for your question here, and I want to answer this one because I think it's important and really important that you understand where we're coming from here. The question is, what do you get out of this? If you're making good money, why do you feel the need to teach other people? I'd say, we wouldn't have any teachers in the world if that was everyone's approach. But I mean, what's your answer, Zaheer? You've obviously, I could say you've cracked trading. You've made trading work for you. It's allowed you to leave the 9-to-5 lifestyle. Why do you continue to help other people to learn how to trade as well? The
simple answer is I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've managed to, of course, not just myself, but through the support network, we're helping to change people's lifestyles. So that is why I do it. My background's teaching, and it was a natural progression to go from teaching into mentoring. When as a trader, I work 10 to 20 minutes a day. That means I have control of my day to be able to do other things that I enjoy. And life's not always just about fast cars and traveling and all the other things that people sort of aspire to have. The ability, the time that I have, I'm able to pass on that knowledge to other people that see the benefit in myself and the value of myself and the community and the software and who join the community. And it gives my day a purpose. I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. So I know that's not always what people want to hear, but that's the reality.
Yeah. And I know 100% that's the truth as well. And I don't know, I am Mendez, if you caught the beginning, obviously, Zaheer's background is teaching. It is genuinely something Zaheer is passionate about doing. And I'm very, very glad that you've taught me. And I know that everyone else within the community would feel the same. You're a fantastic teacher and you pass on such knowledge. You really go beyond, just what's expected.
The reality is I've been taught by the best. So if I've been taught by the best, I can't be anything less. It would do our community a disservice for me to do anything less than what I've been taught. So for me to pass on the knowledge, it's the background that I've come from.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a way to be able to deliver. Not everyone can teach, and I guess that is what I'm good at. I am good at teaching. Give me a pencil and get me to draw a giraffe, and it won't be a giraffe. I'm not very good at drawing, right? But when it comes to teaching, I am good at that. So, but at the same time, I've come from a very good background, so I need to maintain that ethos.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm just glancing at the time. We've already been chatting for an hour. It's gone so quickly. I know. Can you believe how it's just passed? So I wasn't really looking at going much beyond an hour. So maybe we kind of start drawing this in. And if anyone's still got any questions, please fire them in the chat box there. We want to make sure that you get your questions answered. The purpose of this conversation is hopefully just for everyone to really get to understand the lifestyle that trading provides.
Sorry to cut you up there. There's some really important questions here that maybe I think I should answer, because I think someone's asking about the software.
Please.
I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
Is that okay if you answer that question?
Please go for it. Yeah.
Okay. I know Carnal, who I've spoken to. Hi, Carnal. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you're well. It's regarding the software. Now, the software is proprietary. That means that it's owned by Dynamic Trader. Okay, Javid has spent a lot of time and money over the years developing this software. And as Dynamic Traders, we're blessed in the sense that we are given this software. As part of our training, as part of the membership, we are given the software. We don't buy it. However, if people understand anything about software development comes with a licensing, because Javid's obviously paid external developers to develop the software. And so that comes with a licensing. So as members, we pay for the licensing. So as long as you stay a member and you cover the licensing, which, by the way, is what I mentioned earlier about being an overhead. The licensing of the software is an overhead. The overheads for trading are about £2,000 a year. Now, anyone who owns a business will know that owning an office space is more than that, right? My office space where I do the training is a far greater overhead for the mentoring that I do than trading itself. Yeah. So, to answer the question, you don't technically own the software, but you will have the software for as long as you're a member and as long as you pay you cover the licensing.
Okay, cool. I hope that answers your question there, Khan. I am Mendez. Sorry to hear you cut out there briefly. Zaheer did really quite extensively answer your question. It was merely continues to teach because of that's what he enjoys to do. I know Zaheer has been teaching for many years and now he's teaching others to trade. And that's the simple answer there. So
there's another good question I could, if you don't mind me answering.
Please. Yeah. Please do, yeah.
I think it's never was the pin.
Yeah.
Name. Okay, the question is how would the process of joining the Dynamic Trader be like? How long before we could go live and make proper trades? Okay, all the information can be found on the website. Now, we do training in the sense that it's not 1 day or 2 days. It's a course. So the minimum training is 6 months, and that's what we feel after talking with Javid and Anne about it. 6 months. We used to have a 3-month course, but that just didn't really cover what is needed. 6 months is the minimum time that you really need to really understand trading. So, we have various courses, but 6 months and 1 year are the two main courses. And the next question, which is the one that I really wanted to cover, is how long before we could go live and make proper trades? As part of being a dynamic trader, you are required to be able to open up a trading account and fund it with live money, the minimum £2,000 from the very beginning. So we encourage people to trade live from the very beginning. Of course, that's dependent on the market conditions. So if the market's consolidating, you may not take any trades for 3-4 months, but you are required to have that minimum of £2,000 from the very beginning. So you will go live from the very beginning. Demo trading, opening a paper account, which is what they're known as a dummy account, there's no attachment to the money. If there's no attachment to the money, you quickly fall into bad habits. And this is for me personally, it's a kind of technique that people use to get people into trading, which is, hey, look, you can use this strategy. You can practice on a demo account. You can tweak it to get it working for you if you feel. And the problem with this is that you may use this particular strategy in the right market conditions at that time. As soon as market conditions change and you start using that same approach, that's where things go wrong. But, so people may be using that strategy in the right conditions on a demo account. As soon as they fund a live account, market conditions change. They use the same approach, they can go into heavy losses. So, we would encourage people to go live from the very beginning, but of course, emphasis on understanding how to read charts first. Then we teach people how to manage their risks. Entry point, exit management, compounding, that all comes into it. So it is a journey. Don't be too quick to open an account and start pulling trades. Emphasis should always be on understanding what you're doing first.
Yeah, that's great. So I hope that's answered some of the questions that our viewers have. If you do have any further questions, now's the time to pop them in the chat box, because I think it's probably time that we look to wrap this conversation up, Zaheer. It's been really good to understand where you've come from. Maybe one more question for you that I have is, was there a turning point? Was there a point when you thought, you know what, I can really make it with trading? Trading can give me everything I want. It really can provide the lifestyle that I dreamed of. Was there a moment or a period of time when you saw the power of trading?
Yeah, and I know when that was. That was after my first round of trends.
Okay.
So 2007 when I came on board, I had to wait quite a while, and then that's where things can get quite frustrating. Because there's a lot of waiting involved, and then I experienced my first round of trends, and this is I cannot emphasize this. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's people need to experience trends to experience the power of compound growth. And you can kind of see because at the end of the day, we want to make money. That's what trading's about. Trading's not about the excitement. I refuse to believe that people trade because they enjoy it. I refuse to believe that people trade because they enjoy looking at candlesticks all day. I refuse to believe that. We trade to make money. That's the bottom line. And we want to make money in a safe and consistent way. So when Javid and Anne first taught me never risk more than 2% a trade, even I was like, okay, like 2% a trade, how am I going to make money from this? But what what I soon then realized was that actually 2% risk quickly becomes 2% profit, which becomes 4% profit. Then you start compounding, then the growth starts coming in, and then you start seeing your equity increasing. Is when I realized that this is what's going to get me out of the system. Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean, because when I joined, we had the markets were quiet for a few months, and it was good because it gave me the opportunity to really feel comfortable with placing trades and understanding the software and getting my trading plan in place. And exactly the same when you see the trends develop and you know how to enter correctly, and then you start to compound. It's unreal. It's you quickly see your account size increase, and you realize that you only need 3 or 4 of those good trends per year to see some very, very healthy profits. You do not need to be trading every day, and that really is powerful. And you have free time to go off and go to your job or go and do anything else. It can provide the perfect lifestyle. It really can.
Yeah, just to put things into perspective, between September and May in the last round of trends, many of us dynamic traders, we took between 20 to 30 trades in that whole time period. Day traders are doing that in a single day. Yeah, so we took 20 to 30 trades. We saw significant growth simply by holding those positions. It took minutes a day. Broker costs, etc., are minimal. And here in the UK, we're very lucky in the sense that these returns are tax-free. I know in other countries you pay tax, but here in the UK, don't let the term spread betting throw you off. This is another thing that I'd like to cover. I always, when I tell people that are, they're sort of looking into trading, they're always like, oh, you use a spread betting account. Yeah, it's just a term. It's a term. You still need to understand how to use that spread betting account and use it to your advantage. And the massive advantage is that all spread betting accounts are tax-free. So
that's a huge, huge thing to understand. If you're in the UK, this is huge. I don't think there's anything else that compares with that, and it should be taken advantage of without a doubt.
Look, for me personally, there is no easier way. I don't want to say the word easier, but in terms of what is out there for everyday individuals like you and like me who don't create the next Instagram app, who don't create the next WhatsApp app and able to sell it off to, Microsoft for $7 billion. There's no easier way to generate growth than through trading, because it's convenient in the sense that you can do it from home. It's not time intensive. Okay, I'll take a bit of time to understand in the beginning, but it doesn't take a lot of time out of our day. It's tax-free.
Yeah.
And the rewards are,
yeah.
I could talk about it all day long. And so, going back to what people said earlier, it's why do I teach? Is because being able to pass this on to other people and create a community of full-time traders, that is what we are. That is what we want to develop here at Dynamic Trader. We want to create a community of full-time traders, people that have been through the grind and want to get away from it. And that's what, we're blessed in the sense that Javed and Anne have created this platform for us. And I'm blessed in the sense that I'm now able to pass this on to people. So,
yeah. And you were very kind enough to come and speak at one of my meetups earlier in the year. We had a great turnout, and there were many of the Escape the Rat Race members that were really excited to understand. And when they did fully understand, we had such a great response. And I'm really glad that we now have, many of Escape the Rat Race members are now Dynamic Trader members. And we're just building a community of like-minded people who are all in it for the same reasons. And for anyone that is unsure still about trading, hope this has helped, and really do. And if you are looking at what's the next steps, well, there's lots of content that you've provided online, isn't there, Zaheer? And Dynamic Trader have a YouTube channel. What would you advise for people other than going to the website and obviously subscribing, making sure they get the updates? You've got a fantastic Instagram account as well, which is just going nuts. Do you want to let people know about that as well, if they can follow you there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd love people to follow me on Instagram, because I've only been on Instagram about 4 months, 5 months. I was on Instagram before that, but I wasn't really leveraging it. That's the key word here, leverage. Whatever we do in life, we should really look to leverage social media and other people's abilities and skills in a positive way. And I've only really started using Instagram correctly, I'd say about 4 or 5 months. Before that, I was using Twitter. And Twitter is good, but I found that to connect with just some amazing people from around the world, Instagram has been really, really powerful for me. So please follow me on Instagram, which is fx.mentor. Please don't let my name throw you off. A lot of people say, hey, why do you talk about stocks when you've got FX in your name? To be honest with you, I chose fx.mentor purely for search purposes, because more people are going to put FX into the search box than stocks. And so it just helps me to be a little bit more searchable within the social media platform. So fx.mentor on Instagram. If I write for the Huffington Post as well. So if people search for me through Huffington Post, they'll find a lot of my articles. And for people that are new to trading, you'll find my Huffington Post articles very, very useful, because it's not so technical. The Huffington Post articles aren't technical. It's more about what is FX trading, success stories, people like the Turtle Traders. It talks about the differences between gambling and trading. What makes a successful trader compared to a gambler, and why do they kind of go, why does one make it and the other doesn't? So my Huffington Post articles will be very useful for people who kind of want to get a knowledge about what trading is about without getting too technical. There is one article actually on there called About Technical Analysis, which would also be quite useful, but nothing compared to, of course, Anne's PDF. Please make sure to download the PDF, because that's going to just really give you a very clear picture of what trading is about. So for me personally, I would say Instagram is the best way to really follow me and to connect with me. Well,
the little plug there at the end, I think Anne's just taken the props to an all-time high. Oh, I'm getting some props from Anne now. We've got the race going on here. That's great advice there, Zaheer. Maybe I can send a link out to people to direct them towards the download as well. That might be useful if people would like that.
Sorry to cut you up there, Chris. Something that I don't want to forget. Actually, I've been working very closely with Javed on this, and we're coming towards the end of creating a new sort of training program for non-members, which will be an apprentice program. It'll be the Dynamic Trader Apprentice.com. That's the website. It should hopefully be going live in the next few days. At the moment, it's kind of you are a member or you're not a member. So, if you aren't a member, it's sometimes very difficult for people on the outside to really appreciate the value of what they get when they become a member. And I do understand that, because, there are a lot of academies out there, and there's a lot of other courses out there. And so what really separates the dynamic trader from everything else that's out there, there are certain things which are obvious. Dynamic trading is very unique in the sense that there's very few people out there trend trading. Most academies will be teaching day trading. We have proprietary software. There's very, 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 if any, people out there that use well-developed proprietary software. Most people will get you to download free source software and get you trading on that. Our members save a lot of money on the stocks information that we give them. A lot of money. MetaStock, the scanning software, costs about £2,000 a year, I believe. $2,000, $2,000, I can't remember. But it's a certain amount of money that our members don't need to invest in, because we actually save them that kind of money because of all the hard work that Anne does on a weekly basis with the stocks information. So we save our members a lot of money. But the point is that non-members don't really get to appreciate this until they become members. So we are creating a training course that will give people access to a community that I will be taking care of, and other members, Kola, who's quite prominent on social media as well. He'll be involved in the community. We'll also be giving the apprentices access. Javid has kindly agreed. I've had to sit down and talk to him about some of the tools that he's going to be making available to them. But he's kindly agreed to make some of the tools available to our apprentices as well, so they'll really get a feel for the whole sort of ethos that we have in the dynamic trader. And it's going to be maybe a 4 or 5 hour training session, and I believe it's going to be £50. So it's going to be excellent value as well. So that will be going live in the next few days as well. So that will be all over social media, hopefully.
Can you repeat the website for Roy Chillin on that one?
Yeah, it'll be the dynamictraderapprentice.com. I know it's a bit long, but it's quite memorable, hopefully. The dynamictraderapprentice.com.
Well, how's about when that's ready, Zaheer, you let me know. And when it goes live, I can message everyone who's subscribed to the Blab tonight, just to make sure that they don't miss out on that.
Yeah, fantastic. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, I've just put the link there as well for you guys. So if you want to, copy that and check back in later in the week, see when that's live. There was one more question just before we go. I want to make sure we cover and answer everyone's questions.
Yeah.
Never was the king. Just going back a little bit, we're saying, is it realistic to aim for a 25 to 30% gain on your account every year?
Yes.
Okay. Simple answer. Good. Yeah, I think it's a realistic aim, isn't it? And it could be more, and hey, it could be less, I guess. But in your experience?
Yeah, it's very realistic. I mean, as I said, the magic word is compounding.
Mm-hmm.
So when people understand and appreciate compounding, 25 to 30% it's a very achievable target.
Okay, great. Rohit, you've joined us just too late. We're about to sign out. Great to have you on the Blab. And
I'll see.
Everyone, we are recording this. Blab should make this available as soon as we finish tonight, which will be in a minute. And I will probably make this available and send it out to everyone as well in the newsletter. So thank you for all your kind comments, all of your questions. Thanks, Lucas. Thank you, Roy.
Can I say my thank yous as well? Yeah.
Go for it, of course.
I just want to honestly thank you so much for everyone that has tuned in and taken the time to sit in on today's what is it called? Blabinar?
Blab. Just a blab, I believe. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I am planning to, obviously, Chris and I are planning to do a few more moving forward, and they'll start to get a little bit more technical. I know you guys have probably tuned into Javid's periscopes. So I've got Javid's obviously set the bar high with some amazing periscopes. So I'm going to be taking some lessons from Javid on how to deliver a good periscope. So hopefully looking forward to doing some technical stuff with you as well, Chris.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for the props, everybody. Much appreciated. And thank you so much for the support. And
I'll give you some.
Let's share the love here.
I'm going to make yours more than mine. I think you deserve it.
You'll be there for a while. So we're using Blab. We're still quite new to Blab, but I think it's a really it's a great way of having a good open conversation and good interaction with you guys as well. It's pretty easy to answer the questions. Hopefully we've covered everything that you wanted answering tonight. And as Zaheer says, I'm sure we'll schedule another one of these in the next few weeks, and we can maybe get more into the detail of the approach to trend trading, and if that's something you'd be interested in. So stay tuned. I think we've covered everything, haven't we, Zaheer?
Yeah, I think we have, Chris. Thank you. Thanks for everything. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for inviting me.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.